In the quiet hours of July 29, 2025, a seemingly ordinary night descended upon Fall River, Massachusetts. But for one resident, the darkness was about to be pierced by a chilling truth. A truth decades in the making, crossing oceans, and hidden in plain sight. This was Dennis Costa, 66 years old. A lawful permanent resident of the United States for over 5 decades. But the agents from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, weren't there for a routine check. They were there to finally confront a ghost from his past. A past that began with the most heinous of crimes, committed not in America, but thousands of miles away, in his native Portugal. To understand the chilling reality of Dennis Costa, we must travel back to November 25, 1991. In a Portuguese courtroom, a judge delivered a verdict that would forever brand Costa as a predator. He was convicted of the rape and abuse of a child, along with indecent assault and battery on a child under 14 years of age. For these unspeakable acts, Dennis Costa was sentenced to a decade behind bars. A just punishment, one might think. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, for the United States, it was only just beginning. Because decades before his conviction, in 1969, Dennis Costa had already made his way to American soil. He was admitted as a lawful permanent resident. But here's where the story takes a perplexing turn. Officers believe he may have initially entered the country illegally that very same year. How could someone be a lawful permanent resident and simultaneously have entered illegally? This discrepancy, this shadow in his past, would become a critical piece of the puzzle that allowed a convicted child predator to live among us for so long. Upon his arrival in the United States, and certainly after his conviction became known, Dennis Costa fell under the purview of Massachusetts law. The Commonwealth has stringent sex offender registration requirements. But how does a conviction from Portugal apply here? Massachusetts law mandates registration for individuals residing, employed, or studying within the state who have been convicted of specific sex offenses. Crucially, this includes like violations of the laws of another state, the United States, or a military, territorial, or Indian tribal authority. This provision directly brought Dennis Costa under the state's sex offender registry, despite his original conviction being in Portugal. His crimes, rape and abuse of a child, indecent assault and battery on a child under 14, align precisely with the offenses that trigger this registration duty. The Massachusetts Sex Offender Registry Board, or SORB, is the agency tasked with managing this critical database. But the state registry is only one layer of defense. At the federal level, U.S. immigration law carries severe consequences for non-citizens with criminal convictions, especially those involving child exploitation. For lawful permanent residents like Costa, certain crimes can lead to immediate deportation, regardless of how long they've lived here or their family ties. Convictions categorized as aggravated felonies or crimes involving moral turpitude are particularly serious. They often trigger mandatory detention during removal proceedings and can bar eligibility for most forms of relief from deportation. Child exploitation offenses almost always fall into these categories. Then there's the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act of 2006. This landmark federal legislation specifically imposes immigration penalties on U.S. citizens and permanent residents convicted of specified crimes relating to minors. It significantly enhances the government's ability to deport such individuals, making Costa's long-standing LPR status incredibly precarious. The question is, if the laws were in place, why did it take so long? Monitoring individuals with international convictions presents unique challenges. It requires intricate coordination between disparate legal systems and can complicate data sharing and the verification of foreign criminal records. While Massachusetts' like violations clause aims to bridge this gap, the practicalities of continuous oversight for someone whose primary criminal history originates abroad can still pose hurdles for domestic law enforcement. For decades, Dennis Costa lived in the shadows of this complex legal landscape. But the shadows were about to be illuminated. Enter U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's Homeland Security Investigations. HSI is not just an immigration enforcement agency, it is a global leader in the relentless fight against child exploitation. Their mission is clear: to protect children from predators involved in the production, distribution, and possession of child sexual abuse material, and those who engage in illicit sexual conduct with minors, both domestically and internationally. HSI employs a multifaceted, victim-centered approach. They leverage cutting-edge investigative expertise, advanced technological tools, including artificial intelligence, and a dedicated victim identification laboratory for analyzing child sexual abuse material, to track down offenders and rescue victims. With 80 international offices across 53 countries, HSI can follow a child exploitation case wherever it leads, transcending national borders. But no single agency can fight this battle alone. Combating child exploitation is a complex undertaking that demands extensive collaboration. HSI routinely partners with critical organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the FBI, the Massachusetts State Police, and other federal, state, and local entities. In Massachusetts, this collaboration takes concrete form through initiatives like Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide Department of Justice effort, and the Commonwealth Anti-Trafficking Task Force, a joint venture between the MA Attorney General's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and law enforcement. These units work tirelessly, sharing intelligence and resources to dismantle exploitation networks. Dennis Costa's arrest wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a broader, concerted enforcement push against child exploitation that swept across Massachusetts in July and August of 2025. Just days before Costa's apprehension, on July 24th, the Boston Police Department, with assistance from the Massachusetts State Police and the FBI, conducted a significant operation near the South Bay Mall. That targeted sting resulted in the arrest of 9 suspects on various sexual exploitation offenses, including enticement of a minor. And just a few days after Costa, on August 2nd, ICE New England arrested Einar Estuardo Vileman Jimenez, a 38-year-old registered sex offender from Guatemala, in West Roxbury. This pattern, Costa's arrest, the Boston sting, the apprehension of Jimenez, suggests a strategic, intelligence-driven focus by federal and state agencies during this period. Department of Homeland Security press releases from that time consistently highlighted a high volume of nationwide ICE arrests targeting child predators, with specific mentions of detainers lodged in Massachusetts. This was a coordinated effort to make our communities safer. It's important to note for clarity that another individual named Dennis Costa was arrested in Fall River earlier that month, on July 9th, for stealing donation funds from a church. This separate incident, while occurring in the same city and month, is entirely unrelated to the child exploitation charges that are the focus of our story. Our Dennis Costa's capture was about a far more insidious crime. Today, Dennis Costa remains in ICE custody, awaiting a hearing before an immigration judge. For individuals like Costa, who are lawful permanent residents facing removal proceedings due to criminal convictions, the legal path is complex and often lengthy. The central question for the immigration judge is whether the non-citizen is removable as charged by the Department of Homeland Security. Convictions like Costa's, especially those classified as aggravated felonies, often lead to mandatory detention and severely limit any eligibility for relief from removal. As of now, a definitive date or location for Dennis Costa's immigration hearing has not been publicly specified. Information regarding individual immigration court schedules is typically not broadly disseminated in public news channels. Access to such details is generally restricted to the individual, their legal counsel, or through specific, authenticated public access systems, like the Executive Office for Immigration Review's Automated Case Information System, which requires an A number for lookup. This case also highlights the ongoing challenges in monitoring registered sex offenders, particularly those with international convictions. While laws are designed to protect, there remain significant gaps in scientific knowledge concerning their overall effectiveness in reducing reoffending rates. This often leads to policy decisions driven by public sentiment, sometimes termed populist punitivism, rather than empirically proven outcomes. But the relentless pursuit of justice, as demonstrated by the arrest of Dennis Costa and countless others, underscores a fundamental commitment to protect the most vulnerable among us. The arrest of Dennis Costa in Fall River, Massachusetts, is more than just a single crime story. It's a compelling illustration of the intricate dance between international criminal history, U.S. immigration law, and state-level sex offender management. It reveals how a decades-old foreign conviction, combined with a complex immigration status, can lead to a predator living undetected for far too long. But it also showcases the unwavering dedication of federal agencies like ICE HSI, working hand-in-hand with state and local partners. Their strategic, intelligence-driven operations are a testament to a sustained commitment to identifying and removing individuals who pose a grave risk to our children and our communities. The fight against child exploitation is ongoing, and it requires vigilance from all of us. If you see something, say something. Your tip could be the crucial piece of information that brings another predator out of the shadows and protects an innocent life.
New tonight, ICE making some arrests locally. The first was on July 29th in Fall River. Officers say they arrested 66-year-old Dennis Costa, a citizen of Portugal. They say in 1991 he was convicted of abuse and rape of a child and was sentenced to 10 years in prison for that. Officers believe he entered the country illegally in 1969.
Thank you for joining us on Truth in Shadows. We'll continue to delve into the archives, bringing you the stories that demand to be told, and the truths that must be brought to light.